start off, and I'll go back a few years, when I was 16 years old, and I was diagnosed with a condition, and the doctor said to me, Victoria, you will probably never have children. And I was quite upset at the time. And then a year later, I was at a conference, and I had a prophecy over me, and the words were, you are going to be a mother to many. And in my normal, obnoxious, brash self, I dismissed it, said, how can they say that? Mad, mad, mad. And I completely forgot all about it. 2007, I went to Casa Rayon for the first time, and this was very much out of my comfort zone. I hadn't been interested in Casa Rayon, I wasn't interested in the boys, I didn't really care, but someone invited me over and I said I would go. Now, I am a wimp. I don't like creepy crawlies, I don't like dirt, I don't like rats, and I like to have a shower. So this was a big step for me to go, but all that got me through was, it's only 10 days. 10 sleeps, Victoria, you can do it for 10 sleeps. I came back after these 10 sleeps, and I had a passion for these children like I'd never had before. And I kept thinking, what can I do? What can I do? I can give money, I can email, but that's not touching the boys, that's helping the organisation. What can I do? So I booked to go again in November 2009, and during that year I started thinking, well, what if I went a bit longer? And again, the thinking is very different to the reality, because you think you can do everything in your head. But as we built up to this visit in November 2009, it was much a case of, these 10 days, I have to really pray and hear from God to see if it's what he wants. Day 2, one of the boys came up to me and said, can I call you Mum? Because you are like a mum to me, and when you're here, you make me feel like a king and special and loved, and I have never had that before. The second he finished those words, the prophecy that I had had 14 years earlier came flying in my head with exactly the same woman's voice. And I thought, whew, maybe I am supposed to come here. And it was quite scary. Over the next 10 days there, we had a great time with the boys. And I prayed and we talked a lot. And on the last day in a prayer session, I heard God very clearly say to me, surrender yourself to me, whatever the cost. I burst into tears because at that moment I knew that I had to do it, and I knew that my life in England was going to be no more for me. The nice things I liked was going to be no more. However, I went in September 2010 and I was so excited, all the anxiety seemed to go away and it was going to be great, this is wonderful. And it was so different. We walked to the boys the first day and there was 50 less boys. And I thought, it's not quite the same. Do I really want to be here with less boys? But it's the best thing we can do for these boys. While I've been there, another 12 boys have been reintegrated into their families, and that's now the vision, and we support them as we find either aunts or uncles or brothers. And so now we have gone from 87 boys to 25 boys in 1 year. We keep in touch with the boys. Some of them are too far away, so they're in the hands of the social services in that area, but the ones that are close, we keep in touch. We also had Dondo Orphanage, which were girls, and when I went in September, there were 7 girls and 1 boy. We brought the 1 boy across to Namizua, which is Mingolas, our youngest character, and the other girls, we got them back into their homes, apart from 2 who had special needs, and they've gone to a special centre for those girls. So now Beira and Beira no longer has Dondo. So all our resources, all our focus can be on the boys and making the boys' life better. When I arrived, there was no toys for the children. There was no activities for them. They played in the sand on the ground. They made pretend iPods out of mud, and they very much had to entertain themselves. They had a very bland diet, some days the same for 2-3 weeks, beans and rice or beans and, maize. And it is bland and it's boring. Now we've changed the diet and we have fish, we have meat, we have beans, we have pasta, we have vegetables, we have chicken. And one of the best things for me is the other staff that have been there a lot longer have said, Victoria, in this last year that you've been here and you've changed the diet with us, the boys are a lot healthier. We've had a lot less illness in this last year. We now have a playroom. We have a playroom with toys. It's not many toys compared to what families or schools or nurseries may have, but we've got toys, and it's so nice to go and see them play with toys, use their imagination to build whatever they want to build, which is very interesting sometimes. They do art activities, we do painting, we have our very own art gallery in the playroom, And they never had that. And often the boys say, Mum, since you came, things have got better because we have more things. But it's not through me. It's not just me. We work as a team, and the team relies on God. And we have to rely on God to get through it all. We also try and have snack times, which was a bit of a unique idea to Mozambique, to have snack time. And that's also improved the diet because we try and have bananas, and I'm coming into the mango season, so that'll be very good. And we have discipline. There was no discipline. They did what they liked, they go out the site when they like, they fight who they like, they steal what they like. Now they can't do that. And that is tough for the boys. It's tough to have somebody say no. But actually over the last year they've come to respect it. They come to respect boundaries. And very often I'll hear, I don't like you, Mum. And I'll always turn around and say, that's fine, I'll always love you. And the older boys just say, we've never had people tell us we love us before. We've never had someone say we will always love us. And for me, that's a privilege that I can be there to do that for the boys. The boys are very interested in church since I've been out there. You know, they ask questions about you all, and some of you got prayer cards a few months ago, and a couple of you have written or emailed, and so the boys love that. So if you've got a boy and you want regular contact, let me know who you've got, and I can give you regular news on the boys, because they're very interested in people in St Matthew's and St Oswald's. For me, it is very much out of my comfort zone. I like a hot shower every day. I like to go for coffee. I like luxuries. I like to go and buy things for me. I don't have that now. I don't sometimes have water for 5 weeks. I never go for coffee. I hardly ever buy anything for me. I like talking. I like having a conversation. And that is so difficult because I have to try and think in Portuguese to have a conversation. And sometimes I'm not understood, or I don't understand them, and that is difficult for me. It's difficult with the boys sometimes because it's difficult to interact with them because they speak so fast, but they say I speak so fast English, you know, trying to get a balance. So that is difficult because I'm used to being in control with children and knowing how to do things and what to do when. The internet drives me mad. It's so slow. I had this problem with my back and my leg, and that was just awful. I had to go to hospital and I had to rely on people to translate for me. And people were making decisions for me without discussing them. And that was very difficult for me to cope with because it's so different here. There are some days that I feel I'm just sitting at the boys and I think, well, what am I doing here? What am I doing? How am I helping? What benefit am I here? But on those rare days that I do just sit for a few minutes, the boys will always come, and they'll either come for a hug or they'll just say, you're still here, Mum? When you go in, and then they go off, and they just want the reassurance. In about March, I had quite a few doubts about whether I should stay longer or what I should do. And I had this verse by 3 different people, 3 people that didn't know my circumstances from previous years. And I won't read it all, I'll just read the first 3 verses of Isaiah 54. Sing, O childless woman, break forth into loud and joyful song, O Jerusalem, even though you never gave birth to a child. For the woman who could bear no children now has more than all the other women, says the Lord. Enlarge your house, build an addition, spread out your home, for you will soon be bursting at the seams. Your descendants will take over other nations and live in their cities. I am so out of my comfort zone in Beira, and it is tough some days. But I absolutely love it out there. It is the best thing I have ever done. And I am proud and honoured to be mum to the most wonderful, special, delightful boys God could ever have given me.